All right, welcome everyone. We're gonna give 1 more minutes to finish logging in and wait for more people to connect. We're gonna start in 1 minute. Welcome everyone. All right, I see the list of participants filling in. Let's get started. I have a full agenda for 30 minutes, so let's get on. All right, welcome to our webinar of rapid optioneering using Autodesk Forma. We are going to run through the process of generating and studying site potential studies using generative AI with the support of analysis with AI. My name is Cesar Escalante. I'm Senior Technical Marketing Manager at Autodesk. I come from industry. I'm a registered architect, and I support innovation coming out of the architectural portfolio products. You can find me on LinkedIn or send me an email. Happy to follow up if you have any question. Couple of things before we get started. You are joining this webinar through a computer audio system, and if you are experiencing audio issues, just refresh your browser or use a different browser. This webinar is being recorded, and you will receive a copy of the recording via email 24 hours after today. The webinar is also going to get published in the Autodesk Forma YouTube channel. If you have questions, please feel free to type them in the Q&A panel. We have a set of good people available in the background, eager to respond to your questions. We might run a poll towards the end of the presentation, so if you want to connect with us, feel free to respond to that poll. And if you want to engage with a larger pool of people in our forum, you can scan the QR code on the screen and reach out to our development team, and post your questions there. This is the agenda for today. I'm going to start by highlighting what are the problems we're trying to solve with rapid site optioneering, and what the workflow looks like using the Forma environment, how we can integrate this process with a feedback system of environmental variables, in particular noise and sound and wind, how we can take site prototyping into the next level of detail by integrating this with the 3D Sketch or other tools. And then I'm going to reserve the last 5 minutes for Q&A. Again, for those who are just dialing in, make sure you type your questions in the Q&A panel. All right, the Autodesk Forma has been designed to tackle key challenges at the front end of the site planning and design. One of the major problems in the industry is how much time it takes to process site planning tasks, which can slow the design process. Designer struggles to generate and evaluate design options because it's hard to get contextual data that is rich, that is updated. And the tools that we have are really fragmented. And this makes it very difficult to explore creative site solutions that understand different ways of looking at site potential and innovative approaches in design form. Additionally, in the schematic design, we lack this rapid feedback loop that help us identify what is the impact of our design choices in environmental variables. That's why integrating environmental and contextual data in early stage design, it's an important thing. Traditional workflows for automating layouts, topologies are a little cumbersome. There's very little automation on these workflows. And a lot of these require manual input or the ability to create custom automation using visual scripting that is not easily accessible to entry-level person. There's a strong need for something that is more intuitive, that require no code, that empower you to iterate and refine design more efficiently. And that's why we created a site automation as a way to streamline exploration of design at early stages, at early stage conceptual design. All right, so Forma provides you with a solution by automating the project setup. It gives you access to instant rich site context. This includes terrain, property lines, site context, roads, eliminating the need to manually input this in early stage design. Then using a generative design algorithm, it provides you the ability to rapidly create and analyze multiple design site options based on user-defined parameters, allowing you to explore much faster and more comprehensive different design options. It also provides real-time environmental and performance analysis. Forma has rapid analysis on wind and noise that provide instant feedback on your design choices, allowing you to create more informed design solutions. And once you arrive at a massing conceptual study that fits your needs, you can take it to the next level by utilizing our 3D sketch functionality, which allow you to do model or take the model to the next level within the same Forma environment, or you can take your model outside of the Forma environment and in Revit or other tools to take the design to the next level of detail. So let's take a look at how this works. And I'm going to jump here into my browser. And I already have Autodesk Forma hub open for me. You might notice that you start to see some integration of Forma with docs by reading the ACC hubs that you are part of or invited for. So I'm going to create a new site here, and I'm going to place this project or this site into an existing project. I have a lot of projects here, but the project where I want to connect it to is this Boston waterfront. Then you input an address. A lot of you are already familiar on how projects in Forma are created, but if you're new to Forma, this is how you geolocate a project and crop a site boundary. I'm going to just move it a little bit so that it's centric. And this is the south side of Boston. an area that it's target for further development. What Forma is doing here is collecting contextual data associated with that boundary and present me with an ability to add additional contextual data. I'm not going to spend a lot of time going through all the different options of contextual data, but note that Forma has global access to geographical information that provides rich contextual data that inform your design site. A very quick way to add information into your project is this package starter pack, which is a collection of building, roads, and if you just add this button, it was gonna collect open source building context and roads, and I'm just gonna do that, order it, and you will get this notification that the data is being ordered, and when the data is ordered and cropped, it will be automatically added into your proposal. And in a matter of seconds, I created now terrain, the center line of roads, and a site context that is right now being processed. You can see here that a notification pops up telling you that the terrain and the buildings are now getting added into the project. So, a very quick and effective way to edit and add rich context into your project and start looking at how the context is going to impact your design choices. One thing I'm going to do, notice how at the bottom of the left panel, we have something that is called the base. And the base is the elements of the context that are repeated across all the different proposals, including building, roads, etc. And these, I'm going to turn that on. This is the context. And this is the site that I have selected to develop. And there are parts of this site that I'm going to delete. So I'm going to edit the context and delete the buildings that are on the way. Most of these areas are undeveloped, so you can also create a layer within the base and place those elements there if you don't want to delete them. And then the next step is to create a site boundary. So using lines and snapping to the existing setbacks, I'm going to create an approximate site that looks like this. The site boundary is important because it defines the extent of the site automation capabilities. All right, notice how in the panel on the right side, I have the site area reported. All right, how to get started with site automation. Site automation was formerly called Explore. This is like, let's say version 2, and it's been improved with a lot of the feedback received from customers like yourself. And the way to get started on it is you activate site automation, and then you select the shape of the site boundary on screen, and then automatically Forma produce first approximation of what's a site layout. Let's take a look at the different options here. I think the first thing is let's take a look at the grid settings. This is how the site is going to be subdivided. And by default, you have a 100-meter orientation, 100-meter by 100-meter bay. These can be increased manually or by increasing these sliders. They don't have to be equal. I can actually type it here and make this 60. You can also play with the grid orientation. By default, the grid is aligned with the longest side of the side boundary, where you can decide to choose a different orientation. I'm going to do another one here. The grid by default is orthogonal. We have the ability to override individual block lines manually, and I'm going to jump into that shortly. I'm going to stay with a grid that is about 100 by 60. And let's take a look at the site automation panel here on the right side. The first options you have are layouts. You can have empty layouts. We basically create a building around the entire boundary. A grid based on the grid boundaries here. You also have this honeycomb type of layout. And then you have a buffer distance of 40. And what that means is the distance between the face of a building and the face of a building measure equally from the center line of the road. So layouts, these are the three options for layouts. I'm going to stick for now for the grid system. And then another thing, another set of inputs are the topology of buildings. City blocks, it's a continued representation of a building around the subdivision boundaries. You also have linear buildings representation. And notice how Forma also presents you with different generative variations. These variations changes according to the size of the subdivisions. You can have also a mixed typology of linear buildings and towers. Towers, by definition, it's a building, a standalone building that is intended to have a elevated height. And as you navigate through the different options, then you can also create these different typologies. Now, I'm going to stick for now on a mixed variation. And then the next set of inputs is the typical building floor height and story height. I mean, I can increase this to 8 floors and a story height of 15 foot. And all the buildings respond to the same inputs. I can increase the building width. The towers have a standalone width as well. Right now it's 70. I can increase it to 80, for example, and that increases the representation of those towers. Oops, not so that much. There you go. And yes, notice how once a grid is created, it also displays these lines in blue that correspond to the center line of the roads and some grips that represent the intersection of those lines. And you can individually modify them for further refinement. Say I'm going to change this to a mixed representation of this type. And then I realize, you know, I need to make some adjustment here. For example, I don't want this row of standalone buildings on the right side. So you can individually select some of these line representations and individually delete them as needed. You can delete grips as well. You can also individually change the location. So as you move these vertices, the distribution of the buildings also respond to those changes. And if you arrive at a solution that basically you don't like, you can basically start afresh. Select everything you don't like this option, then just delete it. Is my recommendation is that you start by having a fresh or a clean site, and then duplicate it as you create new proposals. I'm going to duplicate this proposal and call it proposal B, and apply the same rules, site automation, and change the different configurations. So the next step in this process is that you can unlock the site and release individual buildings and apply, take it to the next level. I'm going to play a little video demonstrating how that can be done in 3D Sketch. The 3D Sketch functionality allows us to access a whole array of editing tools. In this case, help us to select different plates, extrude them individually, split a floor plate into typical unitized towers. These unitized towers can be arrayed as a group and be edited as a group. And the beauty of doing it as a group that you can start using push and pull operations to add a greater detail to the building representations. You can add overhangs using push extrusions. You can represent handrails using sweep profiles along a path. In the 3D Sketch functionality, it's very intuitive. It relies a lot on built-in snaps along existing lines in the building, existing edges in the building, and a lot of the operations is just a matter of click and pick. Right now, you've seen a description of what extrusion along a path might look like. This generates the representation of a handrail. I'm going to move forward here. And you can create a representation of shading devices on windows or openings and take your project in the next level. And then finally, I think we can connect connect your solution to Revit. There's a plugin available in the App Store, which allow you to create updates bidirectionally. You can send elements from Forma into Revit, and you can update proposals from Revit into Forma. It converts Forma elements into Revit components and apply georeference coordinates into the Revit element. So let me see, I have just 4 minutes left in the presentation. I think I'm just going to open it now for Q&A. Let's see if I'm going to switch back to Forma. and see if anybody has a question. My Q&A support people, is there any questions that's worth responding live? Oh, I want to allow Amira to run a poll if you want to continue, if you want to be connected by somebody in Autodesk. So Amira, feel free to run the poll. The question is if you would like to receive more details about Forma, site automation, how to access it. Again, the bottom line of this workflow is to allow you to explore design form that otherwise will be difficult to do in a few seconds. B, expedite site analysis, feedback in early stage design to make more informed decisions. And third, elevate or expedite the detailing of your proposals by using 3D sketch tools or by connecting Forma into Revit and take it into a BIM workflow. All right, I think the poll is finalized. Any question that might be worth reading aloud, Josh or Maxime?
Maybe there's something. I'm just typing the answer, but I think it's going to be something interesting. I was focused on the questions, so I'm not sure how much you've talked about the release of site automation, but I think it's an important one. And that's what lets you pick different functions, for example, or any other functions that you would do in a normal, typical building design, basically.
Yeah.
Sorry, you probably walked through it. I just wanted to mention it again because that is something very important, and that's what finishes the site automation part, and you release it into buildings that you can then further edit.
Yeah. This is an example, when you have site automation has control of all the subdivisions and the zones, you can release the results of site automation and have access to line buildings. And then line buildings can be converted into 3D sketch. And then in 3D sketch, you can use some of the 3D sketch functionality to edit the building. If I'm going to build like a podium, you can do that. I can create more details on the facade, assign functions, build additional facade elements, and that's the workflow. Start with a placeholder analysis in site automation, apply wind analysis to inform some of your design decision, make changes as needed. This is the comfort analysis. This is the directional analysis for the different primary directions of the wind, and you can edit, make changes to these line buildings, and you can see immediately the results of the wind analysis getting updated as you make changes in the layout. These analyses are called quick analysis because they use machine learning to produce very close to accurate results. And we have analysis of direction and speed, comfort, and we also have noise analysis. For the noise analysis, we may have to input some data into the roads in order to see the impact in the building facades. All right, let's see if I see another question. There's a couple at the end, and I know we are on time. Well, I'll have one more question here. How you export this analysis to PDFs? You can download views into vector format. And then this vector can be embedded into a report, a PowerPoint, and from there you can produce a PDF. Let's see if there's another one here. Assign different program types to different buildings or floor of mixed-use buildings. We can split buildings both in the horizontal and the vertical and assign different functions. I believe Josh is typing the answer for that. How do you generate the number of living units in the model? Let me quickly respond to that. If I generate a line building here, let me disable this, go to metrics here. What site automation produce are when there are line buildings, and line buildings you can subdivide it in sections. The sections is a abstraction representation of what the different units are, and you can assign different distances for the typical unit. 40, 45 is usually the standard. And then in addition, you can create associate this to a circulation representation. You know, maybe the circulation is aligned to one end, and you can convert this into a basic building and assign floor plans. And a floor plan is a typical layout of a unit, and you can use like line tools to define what that look like. Maybe I'm going to do something super quick. Maybe you have 2 rooms here, and then this is your unit number 1, and then this template can be associated with a floor plan. You have combinations of typical line, conceptual line plans associated with the floor, and Forma will keep track of the different units by looking at the metrics. You can have a schedule of different units by area, surfaces, and building types. Okay, I think we are 5 minutes past the time. Maybe it's time to wrap this up. Again, recording is going to be available on YouTube. You will receive a copy of this recording. If you have additional questions, feel free to join the forum, contact me directly. Yeah, site automation, it's at your fingertips. Feel free to start playing with it. And it comes, if you have the Autodesk AC collection, you have already an entitlement on Forma. Feel free to try it out. All right, I'm going to wrap the webinar. Thanks everyone for calling in, and we'll talk to you in next webinar.